Well, 215 years ago this weekend, Governor Macquarie proclaimed the Five Macquarie Towns. And I thought I'd gather here at the eponymous Macquarie Arms Hotel with members of the Hawkesbury Historical Community and the Defenders of Thompson Square to do a reading from Governor Macquarie's diary to remember that auspicious occasion.
Well, I've always wanted to say this, but you must be wondering why I've gathered you all here.
Absolutely.
As I'm very honoured to be here in the guise of Governor Macquarie. Not that I look nor sound or am dressed like Governor Macquarie would have in his day, but there you go. We take certain licences, and it's the spirit of it. And it's very fitting to note that it's 215 years this weekend since Governor Macquarie proclaimed the Five Macquarie Towns. And I've been furnished with this extract from his diary, which I will now read to you. We returned home and arrived at Government Cottage at 2:30 o'clock, took some refreshment and walked out to survey the grounds belonging to the Crown in and near the present village on the Green Hills, and also the adjoining public common marked out for this part of the country in the time of Governor King, a convenient part of which it is now my intention to appropriate for a large town and township for the accommodation of the settlers inhabiting the south side of the River Hawkesbury, whose farms are liable to be flooded on any inundation of the river, and to connect the present village on the Green Hills with the intended new town and township. After viewing the ground and maturely considering the importance of the measure, the site and situation of the new town was at length finally fixed upon, the exact site of the new church and the great square being particularly marked out, as well as the extent and situation of the new burying ground. The acting surveyor, Mr. Meehan, receiving orders to measure and make out a plan of the whole. A large party of friends dined with us today, consisting in all of 21 persons, including of our own family. After dinner, I christened the new townships, drinking a bumper to the success of each. I gave the name of Windsor to the town intended to be erected in the district of the Green Hills, in continuation of the present village, from the similarity of this situation to that of the same name in England. The township in the Richmond district I have named Richmond, from its beautiful situation and as corresponding with that of its district. The township for the Evan or Nepean district I have named Castlereagh, to honour Lord Viscount Castlereagh. The township of the Nelson district I have named Pitttown, in honour of the immortal memory of the great William Pitt, the minister who originally planned this colony. And the township for the Phillip district, on the north or left bank of the Hawkesbury, I have named Wilberforce, in honour of and out of respect to the good and virtuous William Wilberforce, Esquire, MP, a true patriot and the real friend of mankind. Having sufficiently celebrated this auspicious day of christening the five towns and townships intended to be erected and established for the security and accommodation of the settlers and others inhabiting the cultivated country on the banks of the rivers Hawkesbury and Nepean, I recommended to the gentlemen present to exert their influence with the settlers in stimulating them to lose no time in removing their habitations, flocks and herds to these places of safety and security, and thereby fulfill my intentions and plans in establishment. Here we go.
Well, I think it's very appropriate that we have celebrated this, and I would like to see it grow. But I think it's really important too that we understand the details of what it actually is that we're celebrating. And you've really got to read and listen to that speech before you understand exactly what was happening. So I've because I was talking to Pat and we had a bit of discussion, I thought, did you know that when Macquarie talked about the towns, he didn't just say the towns, he said the townships. Why do you think that was?
Was that thinking of the future, that it's not just going to be a little town, that the ship is part of building a community of the farmers or the settlers? I mean, that's just my thoughts.
That's pretty close. Except the community was already there.
Well, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
saying.
why
It's
I
already
Yes, but he wants to grow
Yeah,
and progress it.
Well, I think it's already there. I think township implies the wider area around
Yeah.
the town, so that includes the farms of the people who are living in the town, because the only way you could get an allotment in the town under Macquarie was to actually own a farm. If you didn't own a farm, you couldn't get an allotment because it was tied to the farms. And originally, if you wanted to sell the allotment, you couldn't sell it without selling your farm.